What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 25 of The Casual Observers. It's Josiah, he's eating food, I'm Jacob, and we're going to be talking about the end of the world. Go.
Okay. How is it going to happen? What's going to do the human race in?
Hang on.
Oh.
What are you eating, Josiah?
Chips and salsa?
What kind of salsa?
Hot.
What brand?
Oh, Kroger.
Uh,
That's a local grocery store.
It's a local. You might not have them around where you're at.
They're not in every state.
I know, but they're not exactly local.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Actually, where? Kroger's are like in the south at least. Like the whole southeast side.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're
up
anywhere.
north. There's this chain called Albertsons. It's exactly like a Kroger.
Up north. We used to have Albertsons in Texas too.
Oh, we did?
Yeah. Back
Oh.
when I lived in Dallas, there's an Albertsons up in Dallas, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I went to one like in Seattle.
When were you in Seattle?
A few years ago when my brother graduated.
You didn't invite me, man?
No.
Dang.
Why would you want to see my brother graduate?
I want to go to Seattle.
I barely wanted to.
I mean, I could just be like, yeah, I'm here to see him graduate, and then go like tour the city, you know?
Yeah, I flew into Oregon, and then my aunt and uncle live in Seattle.
You went to Oregon too? Man.
For like a second. And then I
know.
drove right out of there.
I'm so
'Cause
jealous.
that's where the airport is.
Did you see any Bigfoots?
Only like a couple.
Oh, okay. Only a couple?
Not as many as you think.
Yeah, I know. People say Oregon's the Bigfoot state, so you would think.
Alright, the end of
Anyways.
the world. Yeah.
Bigfoot's probably not involved in the end of the world. Maybe, but I doubt it.
So, what do you want to talk about?
Well-
There's lots to talk about. Actually, I was thinking about, like, first of all, when will it happen? Second of all, what'll it be? Third of all,
What are we going to do about it?
no, that's the last thing. Third of all,
Okay.
will it really be the end of the world?
Uh-huh.
Like, what does that actually mean?
Yeah.
Fourth of all...
Like crying over spilled milk. You know, people say it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, but no. But I'm talking about, like... Well, we'll get into it when we talk about how it'll happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's going to be sort of like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's what... Because we'll talk about it. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, I was thinking we might have to pause the video, but apparently we don't. So, I think first, the question is, do you think the end of the world is coming pretty soon? And how soon are we talking here? I mean,
No man knows the day of the hour.
like three years ago, remember? There was that big old scare. Actually, it was
2012?
it was like 5 years ago when everyone was talking about it, but it actually happened 3 years ago, and some people, like, everyone forgot, and they were like, oh yeah, that's happening right now.
Oh, the Mayan calendar ends in 2012.
Yeah. And spoiler
doesn't.
alert, the world didn't end. So...
Or it did, and we just don't know it.
But, I mean, there's also, like, tons of people who predict that all the time. Like, you know, there's lots of preachers who predict, like, the rapture and stuff is going to happen.
And climatologists.
Climatologists? People who study the climate?
Mm-hmm.
Do they predict that?
Yeah.
I've never heard them predict. What do they predict?
Well, not the end of the world, but like...
It's gonna be real rainy.
That's a meteorologist that predicts the weather.
Oh, yeah.
Climatologists predict the climate, like future.
Right.
You know?
Like global warming stuff is what
Yeah.
you're talking about, yeah.
And like they have models that are looking at like, you know, within the century,
But
like the
Josiah,
Earth not being able to support
But Josiah.
like soil depletion.
But Josiah,
Yeah.
it was cold just this past winter. How are you gonna say that the Earth is warming up? How are you gonna say that, man? I mean, did you not wear a jacket this winter at any point in time?
I did.
You did.
So the Earth is not
myth
warming up?
debunked.
Wait a minute, but then it's getting hotter. So global warming is happening because it's getting hotter right now. So how
Is
do you
it-
explain that?
Oh, right now it's getting hotter.
Yeah.
Man. Wait, is it getting hotter everywhere? I think we should call the people in the southern hemisphere and see if it's getting hotter over there. I don't know why I said the southern hemisphere. It might be the opposite end of the world too. I mean, we should call everyone. Just, you know.
Yeah, isn't there some place where it's exact opposite?
That's the southern hemisphere. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah.
And I mean, actually, on a smaller scale, right now, on the other side of the world, actually, on the other side of the world it's getting hotter, but right now for us it's getting a little bit cooler. On a much, much smaller scale.
Yeah.
It's nighttime right now, guys.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
But no, what I'm saying is like, well, when it's going to happen depends on what it's going to be.
That's true.
Because if you want to talk about like nuclear war, which we have enough nuclear power to literally wipe out the entire
Honestly,
planet.
it's like extremely surprising that we haven't just wiped out the planet yet. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, considering the amount of time between World War I and World War II, what was it, like 25 years-ish?
World War One was like in the
10s,
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
in the 40s, so yeah, 30 years.
Well, World War II started in like 36, I think, or something like that.
40 to 44.
No, it ended in 45. I think.
I'm pretty sure we're talking 40 to 44.
No, dude, it started late 30s.
Well, okay, either way. That's about 30 years.
Yeah, and I mean, considering that small amount of time from now, what were the last two major wars? Like, there's a war going on right now, I guess, but...
I mean, 2001?
Right.
9/11?
But see, like, the war we have going on now, I think is
we had fought in
about...
the Middle East before then, too, like in early 90s.
Yes.
The first Bush.
And then also with Korea and Vietnam. But those were about on the same scale that we're at right now. I think they're not like huge wars, you know. One of them, of them got some hardcore protesting, but I don't remember which one because I always get those two mixed up, and people are gonna get mad at me.
Well, Vietnam had like some pretty serious protesting, and then 9/11, of course, when we invaded.
39 to 45.
Oh yeah, like I said.
Yeah, like you said. It ended 45. It was a much longer period than it seemed. Actually, though, considering that we've been kind of at war since like 2001, 2002. Yeah. 2002, I guess, is when we probably declared war.
We haven't declared war since World War II.
Oh, really? We're just like over there just like messing them up and we're not actually at war.
Yep.
That's a good way to get around the legal system.
Not on paper, yeah. Because like, that's why the president can kind of send troops on his own via presidential whatever.
He can't actually.
Yeah.
Like, no, Bush did that and everyone was mad at him. That's why everyone was mad at Bush.
Well, when we first invaded, Congress signed off on that. Like, hey, let's have this many troops and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But they had like really vague terms as to when it would be over and like what the goals were, and that's why we were able to stay there for like
weapons of mass destruction, right?
Yeah, but I mean but it was all vaguely termed and very open ended, and that's why we were there. That's why we were there for like.
Yeah, what is a weapon of mass destruction?
A missile.
I mean, a single bullet is destroying a person. If that person is really fat, that's
massive.
That's massive destruction. Or, I mean, if that person has mass, or if anything has mass, it's mass destruction. Yeah. There we go. So you have weapons of mass destruction going into your mouth right now. So they're destroying your teeth.
But yeah, but here's the thing about a nuclear war, like a nuclear conflict. If that were to happen, I think people would probably target other people's nuclear facilities.
Mm-hmm.
And so eventually, one side or the other would decimate the other person's ability to launch nuclear weapons. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I mean,
so you wouldn't be able to unleash all of them.
If you're blowing up their bases, though, they're gonna chain react with the other ones.
Right.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. So, I'm saying it wouldn't last.
And we have bases like everywhere.
But they're not all nuclear.
I mean, we have a lot of nuclear bases at least.
But what I'm saying is the conflict would be shortened by the fact that people would be blowing up each other's nuclear bases.
Right.
And so that would diminish the entire amount of nuclear What I'm saying is you wouldn't be able to get all of them out enough to destroy the entire world.
Right.
Basically is what I'm saying. Or even if you did, like there would be pockets of unaffected areas in like isolated areas.
Right.
Where people could spring up and it wouldn't be necessarily it'd be kind of the end of the world as we know it.
Yeah,
but it wouldn't be like the end of like the entire.
But you're not when like people talk about nuclear war, it's not like you're literally just blowing everything up. It's because everything would become radiated, air and water and everything, and so humans and animals probably wouldn't be able to survive if imagine if the whole United States was on the losing end of that. Think about how large the United States is as a percentage of the planet.
That's
if that whole continent got blown up with nuclear missiles and stuff, that's a lot of radiation going out into the air and water and everything.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it would get to that point where it would cover
a whole continent,
the entire habitable area of places. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's fair. This is relevant because Fallout 4 was just announced.
Oh yeah.
There we go. This is perfect. I mean, basically, yeah, it wouldn't be.
I don't think that would ever. I don't think you'd ever. I think one side or the other would stop. Either because the other side is destroyed, or because they just don't have anymore.
Right. There would no doubt be billions of losses of life, though.
Yeah, well,
at least when I say billions, I mean at least 2 billion.
Yeah.
2/7 of the planet would probably be gone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it really depends. Who's fighting who? How many are they going to fire?
That's true. If you got two small countries that were both just we're going to nuke each other. How would the United Nations look at that and be like, these two small countries both fired one nuclear missile at each other. What are we going to do about that?
Oh, I mean, well, first of all, there's not a lot you can do because you can't just waltz up in there.
Well, I mean, you gotta have most of it's blown up if it's a smaller country, but
yeah, but I mean, there's gonna be refugees and survivors, right? That you need to take care of, and you can't just run in there and give a medical, send in thousands of people to help. Mm-hmm. You got to be in full hazmat gear, and that's all expensive, and so.
Even hazmat gear is probably not enough to save you from a very recent nuclear explosion. What's that? Chernobyl. Mm-hmm. People have gone to Chernobyl in hazmat suits. I guess shortly after it happened, and still just died very quickly. Yeah.
So you have to wait a while and maybe just let those people die.
Yeah, which sounds terrible, but I mean that's what you get for doing a nuclear war. And I mean...
Oh, you have to quarantine. Yeah, that's what the citizens get for launching those nukes.
Yeah, I know.
Stupid citizens. Why did you launch those
nukes?
Yeah,
citizens, you're terrible.
But did you ever see Godzilla?
Which one?
With Bryan Cranston?
Yes, I was there. We went to it at the same showing.
Oh, really? Yeah, remember he sneaks back in there?
Yes, but that was... Wasn't it a decade or two after... Mm-hmm. Yeah, because his son is much older, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so it's probably 2 decades, which is a long enough time, I think. Obviously, he's still going to get some radiation, but...
Yeah. But, that's just something to think about. Godzilla, too.
Godzilla?
Yeah.
Godzilla could end the world? I mean, yeah, if we irradiate... I mean, that's relevant to Fallout, too, if you get them rad roaches and stuff walking around, and... I'm not actually a fan of Fallout, so I'm really pandering to the fans right now.
But, yeah, so that's a pretty big possibility, but even then, there'd still be a lot of habitable places. You could go and live primitive style,
I mean, okay, if they didn't do that, let's say it is
the Amazon. Who's gonna bomb the Amazon? Nobody.
Dude, living in the imagine taking us. Let's say Houston, Texas was a portion of the remainder, and we were our area is radiated. We need to go somewhere. We would not survive in the Amazon at all.
Oh no, but I mean,
that would be the worst. One of the worst places we could go. We wouldn't know any of the animals or insects or food to avoid. We'd probably just be killed by all kinds of animals and diseases. And
that's true. Actually, the Amazon, it's got a really diverse species population. There's lots of poisonous.
Yeah,
dangerous.
it's like Australia, dude. Like, you don't want to go to the Amazon or Australia. There's just a bunch of deadly stuff there. Yeah.
Where would you want to go? Like the desert, like New Mexico?
I don't know. It depends. Like, we would have to take a globe and be like, okay, this area is radiated, this area, and then you have to be like.
Actually,
okay,
how would you even know? You may not even have that
that's true.
information.
Communication might be gone.
Yeah.
It would be like a Walking Dead scenario. You'd be like, I'm gonna avoid Washington D.C. in this scenario because Washington D.C. would probably have been nuked. And okay, so where would the last place to be nuked be? I don't know. Probably like Mexico or something.
Yeah.
There's no reason for Mexico to get nuked. I mean,
Yeah, who would
Mexico would be really terrible though because all the cartels and stuff.
Yeah, it's almost anarchy there now.
So imagine in a world of
where
in
there's
a
not even
world
like
where
there's
nuclear
like
wars happen.
not even like international aid, because like the U.S. and a lot of other countries are like trying to help stabilize that.
You know where would be like Alaska would probably be pretty good, except for the fact that people would probably be trying to take it over. You know, people like Russia's not happy that we have Alaska and stuff still.
What about Canada?
Canada probably would get involved, and so they'd probably be nuked out. I mean,
I don't think they probably wouldn't be a priority target. I don't think.
No, but they would definitely.
I mean,
they would definitely join like the United States and stuff.
They've got a lot of oil, but
there's like.
That's why you wouldn't want to nuke that.
Have you ever looked at population maps of Canada?
Yeah, they're all along the border.
There's just like tiny little areas. Like the center of it is just like massive land that nobody's in at all.
Well, just because it's so hard to live in that area.
Right, but I mean that's where you would have to live probably if you wanted to live like
peace at all peacefully.
Yeah, basically.
But do you think? Oh man, you know, in the end of the world situation, it's always tough. Like what do you do if you get like a big family?
I mean,
imagine if you've got like.
Typically, it's in the movies and stuff. It's like the dad gives his life to save the children and stuff. But
yeah, remember World War Z? Oh, let's talk about.
I never saw World War Z.
Let's talk about like an outbreak.
Okay. See,
not zombies. I'm talking about like real.
When we're saying end of the world, though, that's not actually the end of the world as we've established. And so, would an outbreak actually be end of the world? It wouldn't, right?
Oh, it depends on the virus.
No, I don't.
If it's like an airborne virus, like I can breathe on you and give it to you, and it's very deadly, and only a very small select number of people have some sort of natural. What do you call it? What do you call it?
I don't know.
Like a natural.
I mean, it's like an antidote, but inside their body, right? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, they have a natural immunity to it.
There you go.
Yeah. But it basically kills everybody. That would suck.
I mean, that still wouldn't be the end of the world, though, if there's some people who have immunity to it.
But it just,
I think end of the world means end of human life.
Oh, completely?
Yeah.
So nuclear war doesn't count?
No, that wouldn't end the world. Like,
virus
the world would continue on.
So there's only a small number of things that...
Right.
So we're talking like
Age of Ultron
shower.
stuff here.
yeah, meteor shower.
I mean, that would have to be...
They killed the dinosaurs.
Well, it's theorized. I mean...
Probably killed the dinosaurs?
I don't know. I've never actually looked into that, but I don't think we really are I don't think we're really solid on any way to determine how the dinosaurs died. Right?
Actually, if that happened, then wouldn't all the bones be crushed?
No.
Oh, yeah, because then the ones that died before.
Or also the ones that, you know, a meteor shower doesn't mean that the whole Earth is being impacted. You know, half the Earth could get hit, and then the other half, you know, there's so much dust and stuff in the air that the others couldn't survive.
Oh, yeah, they
anyways.
just die?
Yeah.
Or you could have like a big... did you ever see The Day After Tomorrow?
Yes, who hasn't seen that?
Yeah.
Watched it like 10 times in school.
It could be like a big climate event where there's like a huge freeze over, but that didn't kill everybody.
It did not, and there was like some really terrible explanation for that, wasn't there, in The Day After Tomorrow? I don't remember how it started, but I remember it being like laughably bad.
I remember, there was like a group of people that were in a library at the center of the storm, and they somehow survived, somehow.
Yeah, but they were, you know, like hundreds of feet under snow. Remember they show like New York, and it's only like the top maybe like 10 stories of all the skyscrapers that are being.
And that snow keeps you warm.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's warmer underneath snow than it is above.
Why would it be warmer?
Because of the like if you cover yourself in snow, then you can like trap heat better.
Okay.
And you're also not susceptible to the wind chill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you take newspapers and roll them up and keep yourself warm.
Yeah, you stuff, like a homeless man.
Yeah.
Or women.
I mean, women typically aren't homeless, right?
Yeah, why is that? Well, they probably are, we just don't see them.
That's true.
So, yeah, what could actually completely wipe out the human race?
A meteor actually could.
Okay, a meteor.
Like, because all the dust and everything could cover up the sun and just end up choking us out, or, you know...
I think a really aggressive virus could kill every human being.
If you told me that, like, 200 years ago, I would say maybe. But I think with modern-day medicine stuff, it would be very difficult to.
But, I mean, if it's like a mutation or some kind of...
We've got, like, 7 billion people... And all of that time, like, if it's airborne, then we have less time. But we also have, like, bunkers and stuff. Like, we actually have, like, nuclear bunkers and stuff with, like, what's that, was it in, like, Norway or somewhere where they have, like, a bunker of all the seeds of every plant we have right now, like, stashed away and stuff like that?
And there's this one guy, he's trying to collect, like, the sperm of all the smartest people in the world.
I'm sure that's fun.
And there are I've heard of labs that collect like frozen sperm samples of like different endangered species and stuff. Like they start with the endangered species just in case if they ever go completely extinct, then they could maybe one day in the future clone them.
Yeah, there was a rhino that just went extinct recently. Did you hear about that?
Did they get the...
I'm sure they did because, you know, it's modern day.
Yeah, so then they could maybe put that into like a hippo or something.
Or another rhino.
Or a surrogate rhino, actually, that'd be better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A hippo. A hippo is the female version of a rhino.
No, it's not.
I know, but if you compare the two, it looks like they kind of would be, huh?
No.
Yeah, they're both like big and on all fours.
Hippos have like the huge wide mouths.
It's true. Hippos are scary. Hippos are probably more deadly than rhinos, actually. But
yeah, because I feel like I can move out of the way of a rhino.
I don't know, dude. They're pretty big.
Yeah, but I feel like it probably can't turn that fast. As fast as I can.
That's true.
You just run in a circle. You know what I mean?
You gotta like run it into a wall or something, you know. Like you're getting a cartoon, you know, like get
it torn, stuck in a brick wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
But then it'll like rip the like a panel of the brick off, and it'll be like on its horns while it's running off at you. Bricks will be falling off.
Rhinos, that could be the end of the world.
I said horns, but rhinos only have one.
Don't they have like one big one and one small one? Or no?
Pretty sure that maybe they do, but not like on their head.
It's like one and then one behind it.
I don't think so. Maybe.
Look it up.
Maybe it's different types of rhinos.
So, okay, maybe a virus. Yeah, I think once word gets out that there's this virus, I think a lot of people would go underground and hide and stuff and then wait it out. But
and scientists and stuff would just, like, you know, go underground.
Try to quarantine it, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they do have 2 horns. What? Since when? I had no idea.
Okay, so we got that. A huge climate event I think could destroy the entire planet.
Yeah, but what would cause that? Like, there would have to be something that really caused that. Like,
meteors.
What was that movie, where they had to, like, dig to the core? Was it just called The Core?
With Aaron Eckhart? Yeah, I've seen that movie.
Yeah.
They have to jumpstart the core because it stops spinning. I don't think that's scientifically...
No, I don't think so.
At all.
They have to jumpstart it like a car.
Oh! The sun dying.
The sun dying, yeah, but we already know that's gonna happen. That's not gonna happen for like a long time.
Yeah, but that would kill everyone.
Well,
actually,
I don't know.
Not immediately, because there's actually there would be enough residual heat from Mercury to heat the planet for a few years.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting, but it takes like
Mercury.
I mean, doesn't it take like 8 minutes for light from the sun to get to us? So we would actually have 8 minutes before we knew that it died. But
I'm sure we got satellites that would detect it.
I mean, I guess, yeah. 8 minutes isn't enough for anything use. But what I'm saying is, the sun ending or like dying, that's so far in the future from now that I don't think it would end the world. I think we would have interplanetary travel at that point.
Maybe, unless there's a huge virus or meteor shower. That
Right.
wipes out a big portion of the
See,
planet.
that would suck. If it's a combination of the little ones, then we could die out.
Yeah.
Or it's got to be like one of the big ones. Like,
Well,
if we get a virus and robots turn on us, then we got issues.
And if you think about it, like, if you look at all of human history, there is progression and regression in terms of, like, societal, like, technology. So, like Egypt, they had, like, some pretty crazy technology.
Right.
Like but then you look at, like, ancient Egypt, right? And then
they had batteries and stuff. Right?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh yeah, they had that on Mythbusters. They had
the Baghdad battery with like lemon juice or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
That was like honey, I think too. It's like I don't remember. Anyways.
Yeah, but I mean, so like there's like progression and regression throughout human history.
Right.
Like if you look at Mayans, then things happen and then like you regress and you go like the Dark Ages where it's like not a lot of discovery and a lot of lost technology.
That's why it was called the Dark Ages.
Yeah, and like loss of skills and math and reading and obviously science. Takes like huge steps backwards.
But I mean, the past like 200 years for us have been pretty good, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure the Egyptians had 200 or 300 years.
No, see, like after the it was after the Dark Ages that the Renaissance happened, right?
Yeah.
And the Renaissance is where they were finally like, hey, we appreciate the mind and everything. And I think ever since the Renaissance is when we've been moving forward. I don't think we've moved backwards since the Renaissance.
You're talking like 12, 13, 1400?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like Columbus, 1400s.
Yep.
Yeah, discovering Earth. Yeah, maybe.
Discovering Earth.
I mean, the Americas. Yeah.
I mean, that's all Earth is for me. So.
Yeah, that's a good point, I guess. But no, I'm sure we still swung backwards and forth. I guess probably not as much.
Probably
yet.
In some areas, but I think
then,
the appreciation of intelligence is something that we gained during the Renaissance and ever since then.
Yeah, but imagine if like a virus wipes out a huge portion of the population. There would be a big setback because we would lose a lot of skills and stuff.
Yeah.
But at least like the information would still be kind of around, so people could learn it and you could rebuild, a little bit like faster. But that'd still take a long time, and there'd still be a big setback in terms of like, obviously, if like there's a big virus going around, you're probably not doing too much space exploration or ocean exploration and stuff like that.
There would also be the people who, like you see this in like every show ever where it's like the end of the world, like The Walking Dead or something for an example, where the people are like, I don't want society to go back the way it was because I live better in this world now, and that might actually be a thing because
I doubt it.
Well, no,
especially Walking Dead type scenario.
Well, Walking Dead.
You have no electricity and stuff. How are you living better?
Well,
get out of here.
Well, you haven't seen the newer season, but
Oh, should I?
Spoiler alert.
Should I jump on that Walking Dead wagon?
Walking Dead spoilers. They get to a city that has running water and electricity and everything, and it's basically a utopia, and there's some issues that arise. But anyways,
what city is it? Is it in Atlanta?
No, it's on the way to Washington D.C. I think they call the city like Victoria or something. I don't remember what they call it, but
Jacksonville, because the guy's name was Jackson.
No. Anyways, but also you're saying that people wouldn't rise like that, but I think they would because I mean, we haven't like in a society where we are now. We're restricted by laws and governments, and anyone who is alive at the time of the world ending or whatever has never lived a life where anarchy was a legit thing. They have always lived a life where they've been restricted by laws and rules. And so if suddenly laws and rules didn't account for anything, there would be people who were like, hey, I like this better for sure. Or, hey, I want to keep this longer because I've never experienced this before. This is new and interesting.
Well, yeah, I'm sure, but I mean, eventually people are going to group together and start doing things together.
Right. Eventually. But it could take like a couple hundred years, maybe even.
Yeah, well, probably like,
probably like 1 or 2 generations.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, like a couple generations of, because if you have a decent sized society, then the next generation is going to be bigger, and so you're going to be able to do more things because you get more people, so on and so forth each time, and you're learning more things. So you'd be able to get some sort of system going on. But yeah, it would be interesting because you kind of have like a communist system where everyone's kind of working together and everyone's kind of sharing and everything. But then at a certain point you get so big where different people have to do different things, and still work together.
Right.
But the children, that's what they would grow up under, and so maybe you might have a communist society that kind of works, where like everyone works together, everyone shares in the benefits.
Well, I mean,
eventually that starts to break down the bigger you get.
That's we're not saying that. I mean, communism works today. We know that it's not the ideal.
Well, it's like there's.
I think most of the planet agrees that it's not the ideal, but it works.
Well, even communist countries have like free market type things that you can kind of do. You know what I mean? Like even if you're in a communist, it's not really.
Yeah, otherwise we wouldn't have like any musicians from like Japan or not Japan, like China or something.
Yeah, or like Russia and Germany.
What is Japan?
I think they have like a parliament system.
Oh, okay.
I think. I could be totally wrong. But either way, like eventually, when you get to a point in your society's development where like communism just doesn't work anymore. It like really works on the small scale.
Well, I mean, they could. I don't know. Communism works, is what I'm saying, though. Like.
Well, no. What I'm saying is, what you're thinking is it's not really communism. It's basically a free market system, but where.
Right, but they wouldn't go for legit communism anyway. At the end of the world, like, it just makes sense. I think it would be like, hey, we're all trying to survive here.
We all need to help each other. Like, this is the best way for us to do that.
I don't know.
Yeah, communism. I mean, it's like. We all work together. We all share the benefits. That's basically how communism works.
Well, no, people wouldn't help anyone out if someone was lazy and didn't want to.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about when people start to actually group together,
Right.
And trying to do things collectively together, like.
Right.
Build houses, plant food, grow food, get running water, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, eventually, like you need a communist system to do that. Where everyone works together, everyone shares the profits.
I guess.
It's the way Native Americans live. Like, no matter who hunts and kills down the animals, everyone eats from that, because that's just the best way. Because, success rates vary. From
that makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So one week you might be successful, one week this other family might be successful, or whatever, and that's how it kind of works. But then eventually, once you get bigger and you get specialization, right? Like, okay, well. I need to run the water supply and you guys need to run the farming, but we're still going to share all the stuff, right?
Right.
But then eventually get big enough to where, like, okay, we need to trade, actually, to make sure
there would also... Well, the trading, I think, would happen sooner than you think, because I think it would be... While everyone's working together and stuff, there would be a point where some guy's like, hey, I want an extra apple with my meal today.
Yeah.
And so I need to give up something
I'll
for this.
trade you my...
Yeah. We see that in school cafeterias. It's like, hey, I'll trade you my mashed potatoes for your...
chocolate milk. Yeah, there's like a barter system. Yeah, obviously, so the bartering would be going on from the get-go, and then that would get more and more complex, and then way down the line, you'd get currency, but...
Yeah.
It'd be way later. First, it'd be like a barter down. But anyway, we're not talking about the end of the world anymore. We're talking about, like,
we
after the
kind
end
of
of the
are.
world.
The thing is, what you were saying with the technology and everything... We would take a step back, but it's not that far. Like, we've taken like hundreds of steps forward and would only take, maybe like 5 or 10 steps back, metaphorically.
Yeah, plus, like, and we were able to store information way better. So like
That's
the
true.
steps that you know, the knowledge that you need would be out there somewhere.
Yeah,
You know what I
just find the whatever server like eHow is on, and then go to that, and then you have all the information to do anything in the world.
So many of those things would be obsolete.
What do you mean?
Like so many of those WikiHows would be obsolete.
Why?
Like how to start a website.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah. But all the important stuff, like how to.
Actually, I don't think so. I think most of those are stuff that you only need like in a first world country.
No, dude, I can look up anything.
I mean, yeah, it's just like, okay, how to wire a circuit board, or how to troubleshoot your transistor board or whatever. Like that's the kind of stuff you need, right?
I mean that, and
Like
also just like
basic
vegetables and stuff.
Oh yeah, basic plant like gardening and basic electrical engineering.
GardeningKnowHow.com. There you go.
Yeah.
Although that's not on eHow actually. You would really need to find like ones that, because there's not going to be internet.
But what I'm saying is most people that are going on those websites are looking to do things that are not going to be that would only be helpful in that kind of situation. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how to bedazzle my phone case, or how to change the background on my.
Man, at the
piece
end of
neck.
the world, there's going to be some little kid who starts up bedazzling again, and they're going to be the coolest thing ever for the next like couple years again.
What?
Like, okay, let's say the end of the world happened now, and like 20 or 30 years from now, people have totally forgotten about bedazzling.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
some little kid's gonna start it up again. Everyone's gonna be like, "Oh man, that kid's so cool."
There'd be so much of our culture totally lost.
Yeah.
So much.
I don't know. I mean, culture is a weird thing where it's like there would be new culture because of it.
Yeah.
I don't
Because you
know.
just have to just start over.
The best way I've heard it described is people just say like, "Let culture happen." Like don't get mad at hipsters or whatever. Just whatever. Just let culture happen. It's.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying, like, a lot of that stuff would be lost. Like, who would even mention hipsters in a post-apocalyptic world?
I mean, if okay, let's say it was me and you. We were both alive, and we were in a group we were in like a squad with people we don't know, right?
Yeah.
All our families and friends have died, but it's me and you in a squad or something. And someone puts on like a scarf, I'm gonna be like, "Freaking hipster!" I would totally do that.
Yeah, I guess maybe.
I
Yeah.
mean, unless it's some like older gentleman, but if it's someone who would know what a hipster is,
Oh, yeah, but see, eventually that would be lost.
eventually, I
Yeah,
guess.
all that would be lost.
It really
like
depends
a lot
on,
of a lot of the subtleties that we know now would totally be gone.
It really depends on how much.
Like hipsters, like metal, like just science fiction movies. Like, you know what I mean?
No, see, I think the way that we have everything nowadays is on a server or a hard drive or just like personal hard drive somewhere, right?
Yeah, not lost forever, but
Right.
lost for a while. Like
We would definitely
eventually
have
would get
access.
rediscovered. People would be
It
like,
wouldn't
oh.
even. I don't even like. Okay, let's
Like
say
a
it was
generation later, they'd be like, "Oh, look at all this stuff that our
Let's say
parents
it's a
did."
virus that's one of the main factors, and it's not actually the end of the world. But there's only a couple people left.
Like 10%.
We'd probably
of the
still
population.
have like a lot of electricity for a while. Probably just get on your computer and be like, "All right, let me get all this music real quick," and
Oh.
Before everything goes
guess,
to
yeah.
crap, I would be like,
Yeah.
let me download the whole internet real quick.
Yeah. And you could probably just walk out and find like a lot of generators and like power up plug in like a Blu-ray player and a TV.
You could go to like stores and get tons.
Yeah.
There would be physical CDs of music and stuff. You were saying metal would be lost, but
Yeah.
then, well, nowadays, there's not that many CD stores, but
They're
Right.
out there, yeah.
there's a couple.
Yeah.
They're not like.
They're like independent stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's talk. What other ways could the world end?
I mean,
We talked about the sun blowing up or going out. We
right.
talked about viruses.
A meteor.
We
yeah.
talked about meteors.
I
We
mean,
talked about a big climate event. climate shift.
artificial intelligence. but
That,
we already
oh
talked
yeah, I was
about-
thinking about that a second ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know what I was thinking?
The world wouldn't really end at that point, though, because the artificial intelligence is letting humanity live on because we put our intelligence into the artificial intelligence.
Yeah, they wouldn't necessarily want to kill us.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we're talking about, Ultron is all like, what's up?
Oh yeah, yeah. You know what I was thinking? They might want to help us. Who knows?
Well, yeah. Artificial intelligence isn't necessarily bad. I'm just saying that would be one of the ways that the world could end, is if Ultron came out and he was all like, "What's up, man?" And we don't have any Avengers.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, if there was like a supercomputer that could copy himself forever, and
yeah.
you never really destroy it.
Funny thing about that though is even if we did die, we don't die in spirit because we'd be living on through the artificial intelligence. There's remnants of us. Have you ever heard that quote, like, there's 2 times you die, once when your body dies and once when the last time your name has been spoken? You know, it would be like that with the AI, where the AI is like our child.
Whoa. I mean,
Makes you sad.
I don't even know my grandpa's name, so he's definitely...
He's gone.
Wait a minute. But there are other people that are going to have my name later, so I'll never die. Yes!
Immortal forever.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how that logic
I'll
works.
never die. Yeah, so,
I mean, AI would kind of do it. But
yeah, I have a theory that if you create an artificial intelligence, it would just be like a person.
dude, have you seen... Did you go on Reddit last night and see that Hound video?
Yes.
That was pretty good.
That was very cool.
As far as an artificial
it's
intelligence.
It's not AI at all, but...
And, I mean, it is to the extent... Yeah, basically, as we talked about this in the AI
It's just
episode.
It's a really advanced answering
Right,
system.
but we talked about this with, like, in the AI episode, Google is essentially an artificial intelligence, right? And so that Hound thing is basically Google, but we put a voice to it and give it a personality.
It doesn't have a personality, though.
I mean, it's got tone and stuff, right?
It's directly responding.
It's got voice tone and stuff, right? It kind of has a personality in this. It's like it can't make thoughts on its own. But remember, at the end of the video, he was like, "Thank you," and we programmed it to reply, "You're welcome" or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we programmed it to respond like that.
Its outputs are completely dependent on my input.
Right, and we already established that artificial intelligence at its smallest core is exactly that. Just
yeah,
Google.
but it's not AI until it can do that on its own.
No, I don't think that's what we said in the AI episode.
Yeah, until it can make its own decisions.
There's no such thing as making its own decisions because everything, even a human, responds to stimuli around it.
Yeah, but until it can have a series of options and it can decide which one's best.
I guess.
You know what I mean? Like
if it has more than one choice.
Yeah, that Hound can only answer questions. If it can choose to speak on its own.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Then that's the point. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But even at that point, you know what I was thinking? Like, it would still just be like a person. Yeah? It would be able to learn way faster. But
if it has the ability to learn and stuff, which we all talked about in the AI episode.
Yeah, it would just develop its own personality, and maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. It'd be like a regular. I think it would just be like a more advanced person.
Yeah. So chances of AI ending the world not very solid.
It could, but you know what I'm thinking? If we create AI as plural, there'd be some good and some bad. I think.
I wonder if...
if an AI can make its own decisions, if one decides it wants to destroy the world, one could decide it wants to save it.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
I wonder if if some of them could have different personalities based on manufacturing differences. Like if we had several different companies making AI, I wonder if there would be something there, like the way that they're programmed or whatever. And like, you could have one from a company that has a slightly different personality trait, but it's every single one from A company has that personality trait. While B company doesn't.
Yeah. But
based on whatever hardware is inside of them.
But
or software.
The thing is, like, if it can acquire new knowledge on its own and stuff, it would have developed its own. Each individual would develop their own personality based on what they experience.
Right. And I'm sure there would become a point where we could manage their personalities. As I've talked about, like creating the perfect human, you could create the perfect AI, essentially. You could program a history and experiences into it, probably, and be like, these are the history and experiences you have, and now it would have that personality.
Yeah, but then each one's going to have individual experiences, after you let it loose.
Well, yeah.
And at that
but you
point,
give them the perfect personality, and then they move forward.
independently though, they independently develop on their own, which
yeah.
at that point they could all diverge.
Yeah, if you build something strong enough in someone, though, it's hard for them to move away from it.
Yeah, but yeah, I like to see a movie where there's AIs that are just like people. They're just walking around.
We got iRobot, right? I mean, iRobot, they're workers, but I mean, they are just walking around.
Yeah, but in that one, there was only one guy who actually, or there was only two AIs that developed their own personality.
Who was the second?
It was like the female
Vicky?
system. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't...
And the only reason that the other one developed his own personality was because the guy that made him gave him the ability to...
Yeah, to bypass the rules.
Make his own decisions, yeah.
Right.
That's exactly what I'm saying. See, one of them went one way, the other one went the other way.
It's true.
So if you made multiple ones, they would be just like people.
Right.
You know?
But...
that can learn way better.
Okay, yeah. Anyways, moving on, because this is not an artificial intelligence episode.
Yeah.
So we probably wouldn't end the world with artificial intelligence, but...
Yeah, probably not.
What
else? What are we going to talk about?
What
What's going
about...
to happen? How? Why?
I mean,
Who?
hang on. What about, like, a religious end to the world? Obviously, in the Christian...
Oh, the rapture!
Yeah, everyone,
That'd be cool.
I'm pretty sure everyone knows what the rapture is.
I'm going to heaven, so I'm cool.
You're cool. You got some ego going on there. Are you sure you're going to heaven?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, I'm pretty sure...
I'm good, I'm set.
Yeah. Basically, for those of you who don't know how the rapture works, actually, the word rapture is never actually used in the Bible, but the general theory, you should just go watch Left Behind, because that's the majority of Christians believe the Left Behind way, while there are some Christians who believe differently. But, I mean, there's a lot of religious endings to the world, right? It's not just the Christian rapture. I don't know how, like, Muslims or anything believe it, but...
Well, yeah, so... Jesus is going to come back for a second time, right?
That's the general rapture theory, yes. Jesus comes back.
And then he's going to take all the Christians with him.
He blows a trumpet, and then all the people who are truly saved go to heaven. And then there are 7 years where there is no God on earth. And so there is what is known as the tribulation.
Basically, that's like a post-apocalyptic world right there, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean... You should see Left Behind, or basically any movie that comes on TBN or...
Wait, at what point does the Antichrist come in?
Right then.
That's when he takes over?
Yeah, I think so.
But will he already be known before then?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. That's never really been cleared up, but that's why people are like, oh yeah, Obama was the Antichrist and stuff, you know. Or people predict it all the time. Like,
and Bush and Clinton.
And every president. No. But, you know, people predict that, yeah, that's when the Antichrist would come in. Although, Antichrist is actually not very biblical either. I don't know if you ever looked into that. But there's some theology to it, and there is no actual, like, being specified in the Bible referred to as the Antichrist that would come and, like, mess things up. It talks about, like, the serpent and the lady in red or whatever, right?
The Bible never says the word Antichrist?
No, the Bible never says the word rapture either, or demon. But there's a lot of things that the Bible's not clear on that you are taught, and you know.
But what I'm saying is, where do we get that idea from?
I do not know the specifics on that, actually.
About the Antichrist, I mean.
I don't know the specifics on that.
Like, what are we referring to in the Bible?
I think it's referring to, like, in Revelation when they talk about, you know, like... You know how in Revelation there's like 3 or 4 like bad characters they talk about? There's like the Lady of Babylon, there's like the multi-headed serpent or something, and there's a bunch of stuff like that. I think they're just referring to... Your phone's about to die too, so you should be using it too.
Okay. Well, you can use it because you... Thanks. So you're saying that the... Wait, let me look it up here.
And I mean, it makes sense. Listen to the word Antichrist. Like that just...
Yeah, that does not sound like anything...
No, that just means What does Christ mean? Like anointed, right?
Yeah.
Christ means anointed, so it's the non-anointed.
Huh, I did not know that, yeah. What is the Antichrist?
Yeah, that's what I was saying with the left
Okay,
behind
John
thing.
2:18 speaks of the Antichrist. Dear children, this is the last hour, and as you have heard that the Antichrist is coming, even now many Antichrists have come. This is how we know it is the last hour. The specific term Antichrist is used 7 times in Scripture, twice here in 1 John 2:18, also in 1 John 2:22, 4 verse 3, and twice in 2 John 7. So what is the Antichrist? So it does say it. The meaning of the term Antichrist is simply against Christ, as the apostle John records in the 1st and 2nd John. An Antichrist denies the Father and the Son, does not acknowledge Jesus, and denies that Jesus came in the flesh. There have been many Antichrists, as 1 John 2:18 states, but there is also the coming of the Antichrist. Whoa. Other biblical references to the Antichrist include, most biblical prophecy/eschatology experts believe that the Antichrist will be the ultimate embodiment of what it means to be against Christ. In the end time/last hour, the man will arise to oppose Christ and his followers more than anyone else in history. Likely claiming to be the true Messiah, the Antichrist will seek world domination and will attempt to destroy all followers of Jesus Christ and the nation of Israel.
Okay, but a lot of that isn't actually referred to as verses as reference, right?
A lot of that, yeah, but it does refer to the Antichrist, and that it says that there are many, and there is also the Antichrist who's coming.
But the one like you see in like Left Behind or whatever is not necessarily spoken about in the Bible. Like a human being that is like, oh look at me, I'm human, and I'm actually Satan manifested in human form. There's some like sci-fi to that, I think, but or just fantasy in general.
The first beast, the one from the sea in Revelation 13, this beast receives power from the dragon, Satan, and speaks proud words and blasphemies, and wages war against the saints. So that's kind of a thing.
Okay, anyways. So, yeah, I mean, there could be a religious end to the world, but even the rapture itself, okay.
How could the Antichrist claim to be the Messiah and then persecute everyone that follows, persecute all the Christians and stuff? Maybe just the ones that don't believe in him, I guess?
The same way, like, I guess Muslims would do it or something, right? Muslims are like, hey, Muhammad is, this awesome dude, and if you don't worship him, then you're crazy. Or Jewish people are like, hey, Jesus wasn't actually the Son of God, and you're crazy, so you shouldn't be worshiping him, you should be worshiping Yahweh instead, or whatever.
So they're still waiting for Jesus to come?
I think
for the first time?
I think so. Well, he wouldn't necessarily be called Jesus, or Jesus, or however you want to say it. But, so yeah, I mean, rapture happens, there's 7 years of tribulation, then Jesus comes back a third time with a bunch of people, all the Christians with him, I think, or something, and he's all like, what up, G? And then he banishes all the devil and demons and all the other people who did not get saved during the tribulation to hell, and then the other people...
So you can still get saved during the tribulation?
Yes, you can.
Oh, not bad.
And actually, if you, I believe I was reading this in Revelation.
Can you be killed?
Yes, the people who are martyred during the tribulation actually get a special seat in heaven. Revelation talks about that.
Really?
Yeah.
What if you were already saved? Do you get a special seat or no?
Well, I mean, no. I mean, and I thought about that too. It's like, man, maybe I should just wait till the tribulation, then get martyred, get a special chair,
But you're already a Christian.
Yeah, I know. But, honestly, I think it would be... as I understand it with the tribulation, it would be very, very difficult.
Yeah, you'd probably get tortured first and whatnot.
And considering...
wait, what about the mark of the beast?
If the tribulation works like how we assume it works, and there is no God upon the earth at that time, just imagine like the horrible torture.
Yeah, probably a lot of butt stuff and whatnot.
I mean... even worse than that, dude. Just like, okay, think about being tortured, like being tied to a table and then just like slowly inserting like razor blades through the bottom of your feet and just like filling your body with razor blades or something like that. That would be pretty.
Sounds brutal.
That would be pretty painful. Like, I can't even imagine the type.
Could
of
I find like a
would
nice person that doesn't like Jesus to just shoot me in the head?
I mean, in Left Behind, they like guillotine them, don't they?
That seems pretty quick and easy.
I mean, well, your brain's supposed to live for like 3 or 4 seconds afterwards, but you know.
Yeah, still, that's a lot quicker than what you're talking about.
The adrenaline would, yeah. Yeah, I don't think it would go over like that. I think you would be heavily tortured and, yeah.
Yeah, probably raped.
Anyways, even that isn't, like, that would be the end of the world as we know it. You know, like REM, that would be the end of the world as we know it. Not the end of the world like the end of the human race.
That would be the end of the human race. Well, after the 7 years.
After the 7 years and after the third coming, yes, because humans...
Then you'd either be in heaven or hell. Well, I think, doesn't the Bible say that God's going to recreate the earth?
No, you come back to earth that third time, and that's when the earth is recreated. And, but at that time, you know, I guess technically you're still human, but you get some, like, magic powers and stuff. So, yeah. I mean...
And, like, a sweet, like...
A sweet robe.
Heaven body.
Oh yeah, and you get a sweet robe and stuff too, though. Like +10 to strength and dexterity, you know, +15 intelligence.
Yeah, what do you think we'll wear in heaven? I wonder.
I don't know. People talk about.
I hope not robes all the time.
Yeah.
Can I just put on some denim? Or?
Can I just put on some band T-shirts? Be like.
All those bands will be in hell.
This is a Christian band. Thank you very much.
They'll be cool.
Yeah, they'll be cool.
Well, can we play music in heaven or no?
I don't know.
Can you play
that's
metal?
a topic for another day because Jesse Duplantis says you can. Jesse Duplantis, who claims to have been to heaven, he says all different genres of music are in heaven.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
it's not illegal to play any dissonant chords?
No, it's not.
You know, for a long time...
Any devil chords, yes, the diminished fifth.
Yeah, it was literally a crime to play.
For those of you who don't know, just I explain it for them.
Okay, basically... There are these things, okay, like whenever you hear like a chord, you know, it's a couple notes being played and they sound good together. There's a scientific reason why they sound good together. It's because they're vibrating at these frequencies that are, how do you say, like it's...
I don't know, dude.
They're vibrating at frequencies...
I don't believe in the scientific way of saying
they're like good ratios. You know, like a 1-to-2 ratio between this frequency and this frequency.
Right, and you can do all the math on the frequencies and stuff, and it's like these are why octaves work and why octaves happen and stuff. But
yeah, octaves are exactly twice.
Are they?
Yeah, it doubles every octave you go up, so the frequency... So you play
an
A...
So is 220 an A? Because 440 is an A.
Yeah,
so
that's that's A 3, I believe, or whatever.
440 is A3, right?
I thought that was A4. I don't know.
No, because C3 is the middle, and you wouldn't. I mean, there's a reason you would use the middle A too, right?
Yeah.
And so that would be.
But basically, what I'm saying is there's a scientific reason why they sound good, and it has to do with like the mathematical ratios of the frequencies, and then so if you go outside of those nice sounding ratios, you get these weird conflicting frequencies that kind of sound grating, and for a long time. There was this interval on the piano that you can play that sounds really bad.
It's called a diminished fifth.
Yeah, it's called a diminished fifth. It would be like playing an A and an E flat, right?
Right.
Yeah. And it just sounds weird. And I mean, if you just play it once, I mean, you can kind of sound cool in the context of, you know, a good musician doing something cool with it. But
I mean, we do have them, right?
You like if you just listen to the radio, you've probably never heard one.
You know, maybe like a movie soundtrack or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good example. But anyway, for a long time, it was literally illegal to play that
because they thought it was evil.
They thought it was like of the devil.
And you couldn't play it in a church, and they thought you would like summon the devil or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it does sound weird, like if you don't listen to like a buttload of music or anything.
Right.
Why were we playing that? Antichrist, tribulation. Music in heaven.
Music in heaven.
Yeah.
We can play diminished fifths in heaven.
Or can we?
I mean...
Maybe so.
See, that's really... If we're going to get into this, which we shouldn't, but I'm going to... You know, it's like, where's the line of a diminished fifth? What if I just detune one of my strings just a tiny bit? Is it now, like, what if I detune it a quarter way, and so now is it a regular fifth or a diminished fifth if I'm playing in between the two? You know, if it's a quarter step instead of a half step.
Well, yeah, you know, there's like some ancient Chinese music that they have smaller intervals than a semitone.
Yeah. They,
But I don't know how that works.
Every time I talk to someone about this, I forget what the term is to describe that music. But, you know, there's people who have, like, tuned their pianos to, like, 30 different tones and stuff.
Oh, really?
To make music. You can, is it just called, like, atonal music or something? I always forget the legit word. But you can look it up on YouTube, and you can listen to music that's made with all those different tones, and
Does it sound totally funky?
As someone who listens to a lot of music, I can tell, I guess, that it's a little bit off, but I don't know if someone who doesn't, like, would be able to tell.
Oh.
I mean, imagine if you kept the intervals, but just, I mean, we do that in music a lot. Like, there are albums and stuff that are actually recorded, like, a quarter step down, where they're not actually on a specific note, but if everyone's, you know, tuned to the same intervals, it still works.
Right, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So it's only in the context of that album are they all in tune?
Yeah. There's like some metal albums that are like that, like thrash albums that are like a quarter step
So it's
down
like really hard to play along with them?
Yeah. People are like, I don't know which tuning it's in.
Yeah. That's interesting. Okay, so yeah, end of the world.
Anyways, that wouldn't actually be the end of the world though. Like that wouldn't be everyone dying off at the rapture. Or
not immediately, but then you got after 7 years after that, then everyone's gonna be dead.
No, if you're in heaven, you're not dead. If you're in hell, you're not dead necessarily.
Yeah, but then
in hell, you might be considered dead.
But then the earth would be destroyed.
No, the earth is remade.
Yeah, but this one is destroyed.
No, it's remade.
A new one is built.
No.
I don't think this one's
just
rearranged.
It's not like they make a Death Star or something, you know, and they're like, oh, this is your new planet.
I think it is.
No, I'm pretty sure it's like this planet is just like, God's like, what's up, tree? And it's like, you know.
No, I think the Bible says God's going to make a new heaven and a new earth.
Really?
Yeah.
We would have to look at like the Hebrew and Greek on that, like the actual.
But I mean, it's just semantics. I mean, if you change, it's going to be totally different than this.
Right, it's a new world. It would be the end of the world as we know it again, not the actual end of the world. Whereas like a meteor or something would be the actual end of the world, the actual end of human life, if assuming it's big enough, right?
So there's not a whole lot of things that would completely decimate all.
Well.
Human species.
The end of the universe.
Yeah, that's not for a really long time though, right?
What is that? Well, we don't actually know. What's the crap? What is it called?
String theory.
No, the something.
Stephen Hawking.
The something death is when like the universe would implode or something like that. I gotta look up the actual.
The
term.
reverse Big Bang.
No.
Is that what you're thinking of though?
No, hang on. The death of the universe.
But see what I had a physics teacher tell me this one time. He said that like in billions and billions and billions of years from now,
the heat death. I'm sure you've heard of that. The heat death.
Is that where like all the energy is so spread out that nothing can actually do anything anymore? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Everything.
Based on what I'm reading here,
the universe is entirely cold
the heat death of the universe is a historically suggested ultimate fate of the universe in which the universe has diminished to a state of no thermodynamic free energy and therefore can no longer sustain processes that consume energy, computation, and life.
Yeah, basically all the energy is so spread out that there's not enough to actually do anything.
But as I understand it, we don't actually know when that would happen. And it could actually, theoretically, it could happen at any time. And some people, that scares them a lot, but, you know.
Yeah, well,
it could happen before we upload this episode. If you're watching this episode, it means it hasn't happened yet, though, so be happy. Be happy, be healthy. Cheerios.
Probably not.
I'm repping Cheerios a lot on this show.
You know how people talk about, like, oh, yeah, we need to find a new... We need to... Humans are going to have to relocate eventually off this planet, you know what I mean? If we're to survive.
Right.
What if, like, eventually, like, we're, like, everywhere in the universe, and it's like, well, and then, like, we start thinking that might be upon us.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, well, we eventually need to We're gonna have to be in a new dimension.
Go beyond the universe.
We're gonna have to get to a new dimension if the human race is gonna
The
survive.
fourth dimension, would you say?
No, I mean like another dimension, like string theory style.
Well, another universe at least. Yeah.
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 In the multiverse, you know.
Yeah.
But it could be the death of the whole multiverse, in which case that would be... we don't know that much about the multiverse, assuming there is one.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go ahead and assume that there is one. I think that's how I'm gonna choose to live my life.
It's not actually gonna affect you at all.
No, it's not. You know, people will talk about the... I'll just assume that the multiverse theory is correct. It seems pretty legit. I mean, there's a lot of science to it, so...
It's theoretically possible, I think. But there's not a lot of scientific evidence to suggest that it exists.
Well, I think it's just like a religious thing, just like a god existing. You know, it's like, well, could exist, could not. You just kind of choose. And that's how you choose.
There's this thing that always plays in front of Injustice.
Mm-hmm.
Gods Among Us, that game.
Yes.
It always shows, it says, I can say without a doubt there are an infinite number of universes. Some are just like our own, but for one or two significant events exactly the same. Lex Luthor.
Okay. So anyways...
So Lex Luthor can say without a doubt.
I mean, unless
there are an
Lex
infinite
Luthor is
number of
real,
universes.
so he knows what he's talking about.
Some are just like our own, but for one or two significant events exactly the same. Yeah, so how do you like that, eh?
Pretty good. So the heat death
I need to read that comic.
would be one of the ways to end the human race and end the world. But we can't do anything about that. Oh, like solar flares or something, don't they cause a bunch of issues, right?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Earth's magnetic field, that if that ever...
How would that go out, though?
I don't know. I don't know what's keeping it up right now.
Oh, okay.
But that diverts a bunch of solar radiation that's harmful.
Right. And that actually would kill everyone.
Yeah.
Couldn't... Well... I guess if you
everyone would get like cancer.
You go underground again.
But yeah, but you can't grow food underground.
Well, you can, yeah.
Oh, actually, yeah, with artificial light.
Yeah.
But then where'd you get the electricity from? Solar energy.
Yep, and you would get tons of it because all that sun's getting through. Cause
all that radiation, yeah.
All the sun, atmosphere isn't reflecting as much of it as it should be because there wouldn't be an atmosphere.
No, there would. It's different. The electromagnetic field
Isn't that what holds in the atmosphere?
No, gravity holds in our atmosphere.
Really?
Yeah. The electromagnetic field is... Because, you know, the sun ray is like light.
Mm-hmm.
Radiation is like high frequency light. And so that magnetic field is bending that radiation around the Earth.
Right.
So the air and water and stuff, the water that's in the atmosphere that's reflecting light away, that would still be there.
There's nothing to add on that.
Yeah, so,
Oh.
that's a lot of stuff we talked about.
I mean, okay, so we talked how it would happen.
Mm-hmm.
What we would do. Go to Canada, probably. Or underground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked sort of about how society would rebuild itself a little bit.
Yeah.
What that would kind of look like.
How can we avoid it? We really can't. Most of the ones that are actually like would end us, we can't avoid. Whereas the ones that we would still have people left over, we can avoid actually. The fact that we can kind of avoid them is the reason that we would have people left over.
Yeah. Aliens.
Yeah. Nothing we can do about that. Fight them off, I guess. Wouldn't necessarily be the end of the world.
But it could. I mean, it depends on how advanced they are.
Man, okay. Because I've been watching all the Marvel movies and stuff, I'm really wondering is if something happened like that, like aliens came down and just attacked us and we didn't know anything about those aliens, I'm wondering like how we would take it. Because in the Marvel universe, they take it very well and people just live their day-to-day lives.
Yeah.
Like, spoilers, like in Daredevil, they mention it once in the first episode.